Hi, I'm Nader Montaz, curator for the Virginia On Air Elections and Governance Hub. We sat down with one of your representatives for a short interview. Let's take a look. We're here with Senator Scott Surovell, Senator for the 36th Senate District. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for asking me questions.
Of course. I just want to start by asking you, why did you get involved in politics?
Well, I got involved in politics back in probably 2002, 2003, because I was really upset about where the direction the country was going under President George Bush, especially with the Iraq War, how much money we were spending over there, and I thought the direction of the country was kind of going off in the wrong direction, and I thought it was important to get involved.
And what is the most important new legislation you want to patron in 2020?
2020. Probably the most important bill I'm carrying would be a bill to codify women's rights to abortion under Roe v. Wade and codify everybody's right to contraception under the case of Griswold v. Connecticut. A lot of people feel like with the appointment of, or the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh to the U.S. Supreme Court that women's constitutional reproductive rights could potentially be taken away, and I'd like to make sure that that's confirmed in our code so that we don't have to refight that fight in Virginia if the Supreme Court changes the law.
And how would you address the college affordability issue?
Well, college affordability is actually something that also got me interested in politics. I was publicly educated my entire life, all the way from kindergarten all the way through law school. I went to James Madison University, I went to UVA for law school. When I was at JMU, the state was cutting our higher education system significantly because of the recession. Now, while I was at JMU, we had a tuition surcharge that was levied on us right in the middle of the school year. They said for second semester you have to pay more. We had a hiring freeze, a teacher salary freeze. They cut programs when I was at JMU. And ever since then, state support has gone from 2/3 of your tuition down to 1/3, which is why tuition has gone way up. And so one of the things I've done this year is I've also proposed an estate tax. The estate tax in Virginia would only affect about 80 people a year, and it generates about $40 million a year. And it only applies to people who are worth more than, or estates that are more than $23 million for a couple. And if we get more money in our system, then we can appropriate more money to our colleges. And actually, there's a big increase for George Mason University this year in our budget, about an additional $10 million in aid for tuition in this year's budget for George Mason. So.
Amazing. And how can college students get more engaged in the impact of democracy?
I think in terms of college students, first of all, you need to learn who your state legislators are. Actually, learn who all your elected officials are all the way down, number one. Number two, you need to make sure you stay registered to vote. Number three, you need to make sure you vote every single election, and not just general elections, but also primaries. A lot of college students don't realize that in Virginia you can vote by mail. After this session, you're going to be able to vote for any reason whatsoever. You're not going to have to give a reason to vote. You can vote for any reason early by mail. So you need to make sure that you vote. And when you see things you don't like, or if there's issues that are important to you, it's important you communicate with your state legislator, your congressman, your U.S. senator, and your local government officials. Right now, in my election that I just won, I represent about 215,000 people. I have about 110,000 registered voters in my district. About 30,000 people cast their votes, and most of those were old people. I bet you, in terms of college students, it was a very small fraction. And when college students don't vote, their interests don't get paid attention to. And so if they would just vote like they do in presidential elections, people would be much more likely to pay attention to issues that are important to them.
Well, that concludes all the questions that I have for today, but is there anything else you'd like to add for viewers or for your constituents?
No, I can't emphasize enough how important it is for people to get active. And it's not just enough to make noise on Snapchat or Twitter or Facebook. I guess most people who are watching this probably don't even use Facebook. They're probably more Instagrammers or other apps. But you really just got to get out and talk to people, meet with your legislator, communicate with them by email, call their office, ask for meetings. You'd be shocked at how many of your state senators or delegates are willing to sit down and talk to you about your issues. Come to a town hall meeting like we just had here and stand up at the town hall meeting and ask questions like you just asked, just to stay active and involved and engaged to make sure that your priorities are being met. We have things like climate change occurring, which is going to be affecting people your age a lot longer than people my age, and we're not dealing with it. We're just pushing it off for future generations. Our federal government is currently spending thousands of dollars a year more than it takes in. And you all are the ones that are going to have to pay for that, not me, because somebody's going to have to pay that debt sooner or later. So there are big issues out there that you all need to advocate to make sure your interests are being advocated for.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much, Senator, for taking the time for an interview today.
Yeah, happy to be here.